Okay. So welcome. We're going to start our dream session. You have to, so is your name Altari? Is that how I say it right?
It's Altari.
Altari, okay. And Tom is on too. I think he's sitting there. Now, Adriana is missing in action, but we'll see if she's there. And Suzanne was, who sent me a dream, was also on before. Let's see if she's on. Okay, now. Okay. So anyway, do you have a dream, Altari?
Oh, yes. I sent it to you.
Okay. Why don't you tell it to me? I didn't see it.
Okay.
Okay.
So the unusual part of this dream was that I didn't think I was dreaming. I thought it was real. I had woken up around 4 o'clock, and then as I was falling back to sleep, I was on my left side with my fist on my chin. I've been having neck pain there, and I said, "Don't do that. You might go numb, or worse, have a stroke." And then I fell asleep. And then I started to call my dog's name, Kara, and she sleeps on the bed with me, and she didn't move. And I said it again, and she didn't hear me. So at that point, I was mute, although I could hear myself speak. I got up, and then I went to the bathroom, and in the hallway, I met my husband, and again, I spoke. Again, all along, I thought this was real, and then I had gone mute. And then he, he said, "I can't hear you." And then I opened up the bathroom door, and although the hallway had no water, the bathroom we have a wonderful pedestal sink. It was overflowing with water, and there was a favorite crystal, a yellow tourmaline, on by the toilet, and then some other crystals around. And then I woke up, and I was fine.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Have you ever had those kind of dreams when you think you're awake and you're not?
No, although I did take a Tibetan Buddhist retreat on called Dream Yoga, and it was very much training us to be an active participant in our dream and to feel like we were really there. But I didn't succeed at that. That was about 20 years ago.
Well, that might be it, because when you were talking about being on your left side, there's a Tibetan technique of dreaming, isn't it? And is it Tibetan? It's some kind of Eastern technique, and you lay on your side. Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's the left or the right side. So
it is the left side, because it then activates the left brain, because you actually do alternate nostril breathing technique, but you put your finger on your right nose so that you're activating your left brain.
Okay. So why do you want to So you want to activate your left brain so that you stay conscious in your dream state, right?
No, I'm sorry, your right brain, not your left brain. I always get that confused. Your intuitive brain.
That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So first of all, that's sort of like, so I think that probably what you did was that you got into that altered state where it was the same as being awake, but it was asleep, and you were rehearsing perhaps. But the interesting thing, of course, is that you, I'm trying to get you on the screen. Adriana, you're kind of on the screen. Yes. So you have, are you muted?
I am on the phone.
Oh, okay. Then I have to just.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I tried to get into the computer, but somehow it's like always, I cannot hear anything and I cannot talk. So I decided to do it on the phone like it says in there, and at least I can hear everybody.
Okay, so wait a sec. We're going back to Altari. Okay, so sorry. She kept disappearing from my screen, and your name came up. So anyway, the interesting thing, of course, is the overflowing water. Now, do you usually have your crystals in your bathroom?
No, never.
Okay. So those are the two issues. I think that the dog and your husband might be just sort of like the testing. Do you know what I mean? To prove to you that you were asleep even though you thought you were awake. Okay. But the two images or two symbols are your crystals, which are your power source, or they are power sources, and also the water overflowing. So is something going on right now where you are over emotional and you feel like you kind of lost some of your juice lately?
Again, this happened about a week ago.
Okay, that was around the full moon.
Yeah,
I mean, the new moon.
Yeah, and probably I was over emotional, particularly that night. Yeah.
Okay. Because basically, when we are awake in our dreams, it's trying to just, on one level, it's the lucid dreaming, but it's really trying to just show us in a very conscious way, okay, the issue, and in very small symbols, let's say. Whenever a pipe's burst or there's water overflowing, you know that there's too much emotion going on. And I forget right now, what is yellow tourmaline? You said, was that the crystal that was there?
Yeah. And for me, it deals with the third chakra, which is the chakra of who I am.
Right.
The I am chakra.
Okay, so for you, then, to put those two symbols together, where didn't you stand up for yourself and it made you over emotional? Or where did maybe your emotions get in the way so that you didn't stand up for yourself in a way you needed to?
Yeah, I have not been standing up and speaking.
Well, you do know the throat chakra is the most wounded in all women. Right?
Yeah.
Because we've been for centuries been told to be quiet, and we've been told what we have to say isn't important or isn't true or isn't real. And some women have trouble even expressing good things. They'd rather write a letter, because when it comes to actually saying something, it's too scary. So I would say to you, you need to be able to remember, emotions are energy in motion, emotion. And emotions want to keep flowing through you. When we stop them, then they become things like depression or anger, rather than, oh, I'm feeling hurt, I'm feeling angry right now because da-da-da-da-da. So perhaps, dogs represent territory and boundaries. I don't know if you were angry at your husband and if he was in there because you didn't have your dog awake to give you boundaries. Okay? Dogs are territorial and they teach us to have our boundaries. Perhaps, and your husband was saying to you, I can't hear you, and you not being able to speak.
Yes.
Is it making sense?
Yeah. I've been struggling with my husband about boundaries lately, and he's not a very good listener.
I know.
Yeah.
My dad used to say to my brothers, it goes in one ear and out the other. And one day he told me something and I started to cry. And he said, why are you crying? And I said, you hurt my feelings. And he said, well, why didn't you let it go in one ear and out the other? And I said, because I'm not a guy.
There you go.
So my suggestion, if it was my dream, what I would do is I would write down what you need to say. And give it to him as a letter, and then maybe say it to him. But sometimes when we have something that we need to say, it's so shocking or upsetting or unexpected that they don't really hear it. You know that,
Right.
like if somebody comes in out of the blue and tells you something,
Yeah.
you sort of get it, but you're not sure. So
Mhm.
it's always good to say it, because when we articulate it, we are acting from our power. But it's also good to have a letter and say, and just in case you forget, here's
Right.
what I have to say.
Good.
Read
Good
it,
idea.
and you can go
Yeah.
over it when you forget.
Right. Very good.
Okay?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So do you think you can work with that?
Yes, it's helpful. Also, I just heard as I was coming in a program saying that our voice is one of our most important power facilities. And so, yeah.
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 And of course, and our voice right now is very interesting, because in astrology, we would look to Mercury, the communicator.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And it's in Scorpio, and it's next to Jupiter. So there's a lot, and especially back at the new moon last week,
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
quite close. And Scorpio has to do with really deep psychological issues, the shadow, deep stuff. That's important in how we relate with someone. Scorpio is a water sign, and it's about how we mesh our values with other people or not mesh them. So
Right.
perhaps this was really trying to show you really need to speak your truth and the depth of your truth. And when it's hard,
Yes.
you have to practice. I always tell my clients, write it down and then practice like you're an actress and you need a movie. You have to have a script. And then when it comes time to talk, you'll have practiced a bit.
Yes. Sounds good.
Okay?
Yes. So I just got a phone call saying, hey, where are you? So I better get going.
Okay, have a good time at the birthday party.
Thank you. You're always a wonder. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Right.
Okay. So, Adriana, Tom was on first, so we're going to do Tom's dream next, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then you come next. And, please welcome everybody. If you all want to come on, Joe's there. Leah's there. I can't see all of you. Unmute yourself. Susie's there. Hi, Susie. So unmute yourself, and it's up there. The muting is down on the left, the lower left on the screen. And so you can unmute yourself because if any of you want to jump in after I work with the dream, you're certainly welcome to come in, okay? And don't mind me wearing my glasses, so the screen is just far enough away that I can't read the names. So if I look forward and I'm squinting, it's because I left my glasses in the kitchen. Okay, Tom, hi.
Hello there.
So you want to tell me your dream?
Yes, this was last night.
Okay.
And this is a condensed version of it.
Okay, that's always good.
So I just kind of got the bare bones of it.
Okay.
I and some friends were by the ocean, and we were recruited to help this guy. Next thing we knew, we were being held in an underground bunkers as slaves forced to work for this evil guy. He actually had a whole army of...
Okay, hold. Somebody is making too much noise. Okay, go ahead, Tom.
He actually had
Okay, Atari, you are making the noise, I think. Okay, she's gone maybe. Nope. Mute. Okay, I muted her. Go ahead.
Okay. He had a whole army of Marine vehicles that were landing as an invasion force against America. He was very Germanic, being intolerant of rebellion or failure. He had created 2 3x4-inch paper samples, one with bright red Chinese designs and the other all gold. We were making stacks of paper based on these designs. Then I escaped with Christopher Walken, and we were driving down the road. With a wise guy grin, he threw the 2 samples out the window. I worried that these evil guys would GPS our vehicle or maybe had put some kind of trackers under our skin.
Okay. So, where do you feel caught lately?
Where do I feel caught?
Where do you feel trapped?
Life seems to have gotten repetitive. Seems like I do the same things over and over and over, and I'm not making any progress, getting anywhere.
Okay.
And meanwhile, getting older and sort of facing the last roundup. And I'm wondering what's going to become of me.
Okay.
Health issues have been coming up and money issues and a lot of things.
All the regular things that we all are facing right now.
Suspects, yeah.
Yeah. And I think I think you have to realize that's something that's happening all over in the collective, obviously. But I think that's you being down by the water, by the ocean.
Uh-huh.
The collective unconscious. So you go down there and you're trying to do something. So one of the things I would say to you is you need to find your group.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing. Because especially out there in the desert, you can't survive unlimited resources, so you share. Right?
Right.
So part of it is where do you find the like-minded people? That's really a big thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I used to tell my kids, one day one of my sons who always worried about me, he said, Mom, you're not going to have any money when you get older. And I went, you don't have anything saved? And I went, that's okay. By the time I'm old, nobody else will have it either.
Yeah.
I could have been a prophet.
Right.
That was years ago before anybody saw any of this coming. Okay. But so part of it is is working on having a new energy. And I think that Christopher Walken is that new energy in some ways. Those little things you had to make, did they remind you of anything, or was it just boring work?
It was just kind of artwork, and then we turned them into these giant sheets of paper with the designs on them.
Yeah.
Stacks and stacks of these papers. I have no idea why, but
there's no reason for it. It was just sort of like something that all the slaves were doing.
Right.
Did it feel like money at all to you?
Not really. It could have been, but I didn't get that impression.
Okay. Well, just because you sort of said it looked Chinese, and of course the Chinese have us all in debt, whether we know it or not.
Yeah.
And then the gold, because it was red and gold.
Mm-hmm.
What does that remind you of?
Those are big Chinese colors, red and gold.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Are you working for anyone, any of the hotels there, like you were doing before?
I just finished a big project for the ONAC, the Native American Church.
Yeah.
Opening a dispensary. They just opened it a couple of days ago. So I finished a series of murals of Father Sky, Mother Earth, the sacred animals, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, fantastic. Take a picture. I'd love to see it. So, and was that a fun project?
It was. And it went very quickly. And I felt the vibe was really, even though I don't smoke any marijuana or any of that stuff, but I felt that it was a real family kind of a thing. And I ended up getting a card, so now I'm a member of that tribe. So he said, find your people. I spoke with the chief, and we had a nice conversation, and they seem to be all about the new energy on the planet. They're not conducting their business the way corporations ordinarily conduct their business. It's based on real, what he called the number one thing is responsibility.
Yeah.
It's not about just making money. It's about freedom, and the other side of freedom is responsibility.
You got it. So let's say that this somehow might be part of your new group.
Okay.
Okay. And And maybe, you know, whether it's that you just, maybe they'll hire you there to just be, you know, one of the people that you don't have to smoke, but you could do it. You know, I don't know. I'm playing around, but yeah. Like clues are coming to us. It's not like, ta-da, here it is. Here's the answer. But right now we're getting clues about who we might be hooking up with and who might be our group.
Right.
And who isn't our group.
Right. Well, the evil guy that was running the whole show, he asked me to sharpen his pencil, and I didn't do a very good job, and he got really angry. He said he got really sort of pensive, and he said, "Oh, that's all right." He said people make mistakes, and even the machines they sent me, you know, the war machines. He said they sent me the wrong machines. So he said things happen. So he was suddenly forgiving for a moment, which was kind of fun.
That's interesting. So where do you have this sort of slave driver inside you?
Well, spirituality, I would say. About that.
Yeah.
I want to create more before I go. I want to leave a body of work behind. So I'm trying to create as much as I can, and I'm starting to become driven.
Okay.
It's about production more than enjoyment.
Okay. So then there's the whole issue of the dream. Okay, because when we are just producing things and we aren't happy, it's like we're slaves.
Okay.
And we make mistakes, and you know, it's rigid. But when you're free, you can throw out the repetitive things. You know, there's so many of those. Maybe they were beautiful. I didn't see them, and you as an artist, of course, would know if they were beautiful. The red and the gold things, but you know, it was like they were just the same, one after the other, right? Piles of them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you get out again? How did you get out with Christopher Walken?
I don't know. The scene just changed, and next thing I know, we were driving in a car. There were several other people involved, and there was a lot of other things that happened in the dream. But anyway, at the end, I suddenly saw myself driving down the road with him.
And were you driving or him?
I think I was driving. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Although I looked over and he was in the left seat, so I think he must have been driving.
Okay.
And then he threw those two things out the window with a grin.
So. Okay, so, you know, the Christopher Walken in you got to meditate on him, okay? You got to sit down and do a little journey and find out what it was that where he's taking you.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, really do the active imagination, okay? But also think about him. Before you talk to him, really get his whole flavor, at least the flavor he has for you, so that he's not just a flat cardboard, oh, okay, and now I'm talking to Christopher Walken, but, you know, bring the whole juice in and then talk to him. Mm-hmm. Why are you here, buddy? Why'd you pick me? You know, when did I become your companion? When did you become my companion? Mm-hmm. You know, he might send you, did you ever see that movie Powwow Highway back in the 90s?
Yeah, it's classic.
You know?
I did see that.
One of my favorites. You know, maybe you need to, you know, journey someplace, whether it's literal or symbolic and spiritual. Maybe if you talk to the chief and the Native Americans that you met, maybe they have something that they can offer to you in terms of that. I don't know. Mm-hmm. There's a feeling around with a lot of people that it's time to do a vision quest.
Right.
Like, I don't know about you, but I feel like everything I've done, I'm just tired. I'm good at what I do, but it's like I want to be inspired again.
Right.
And the inspiration has to, of course, is the same. I want to make the world a better place, and I want the future to have, you know, the kids to have a viable future, and it's all the same, but it's like there's not as much juice around.
Right.
But it's there. It's just that it's in a different place, and maybe we're all our minds are just on the same track rather than trying to let everything go and then see what the new thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to bone dance?
What's the bone dance?
You've never been out to bone dance at the temple?
No.
Okay, it's a thing that the Vegas vortex does, and they go out to the Sekna temple,
Mm-hmm.
and usually it could have been this weekend, or it could be next weekend. If it wasn't last weekend, it's this coming weekend usually. Look up Vegas vortex online. Abby Spinner, Jeff McBride, they run it. And it's an all-night dance around the fire. And it's to shake off the old year. And people drum all night and dance, and it's just a way to release what is dead.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think you'd like it. And you might find a lot of people to relate to there. They would be your kind of people. You came to one of the rituals at DMC.
Right.
You're like those kind of people. Remember when you and Trish came?
Yeah. And I studied drumming with Abby, and I've seen I've sat in circles and done ceremony with Jeff.
Yeah. Okay, somebody just put it in, bone dance. Yep, but I just don't know where. If you look in the chat, I just don't know if who put it on and if they put down the date. The 28th at 9 p.m. till sunrise. Thank you, Joe. And you know what? You'd like Joe. Joe's here in the group. Do you remember Joe is Diana's mate?
Yeah.
Okay, Joe, Tom, Joe.
You know.
Maybe the two of you could hook up and go out to bone dance together if that's something you wanted to do.
Sure.
Okay? So the 28th, which is Saturday, 9 p.m. till sunrise the next morning at the Goddess Temple up in Indian Springs. Thank you, Joe. Okay? Mm-hmm. So what do you think about what we talked about with the dream? Do you think that's like a help? Do you think it's going to be...
Yeah, there's a lot of clues in there.
Yeah.
I can go back in and all these other little parts to it. I can plug those in as well.
Yeah. But there's this Germanic, was your mom German?
No, she was Scottish.
Oh, Scottish. Okay, almost as bad.
I was going to say, almost as bad. Red hair, too, so.
You know, in terms of rigidity, you know? Mm-hmm. And of course, we often think of German Nazis and, you know, stuff like that. But there's just a sense that you have this slave driver within you that keeps you in prison sometimes. The thing is, we're all going to live till we're supposed to die, right?
Right.
So if you go to bone dance, you can let the parts of you that are dead go.
Right.
You know? And go from there.
I just saw our friend Trisha, and she's making a huge break. I don't know if you've talked to her lately.
No.
Yeah, she's making a huge change in her life. She quit her job, and she's gone off to a whole nother realm.
Okay.
Usually we're parallel in a lot of ways, so
yeah,
it's probably time for me to step into a whole new arena as well.
Yeah, I think all of us, you know, that's the one part I miss about not being back there with all of you. It's because I know that we're all ready to take this leap into another way to do things. And, and I want to share it. So we'll do these kind of every other week meetings and we'll see what happens. Okay.
Okay. Well, thanks for your help.
Sure. And, you know, like I said, maybe text here on the Zoom group, see if Joe will connect with you or not. I don't know if Joe's ready to go to bone dance. Diana might have taken him last year. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay, stay on if you want and let's listen.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to stay on.
Okay. So the next person that came on was Adriana. So Adriana, unmute yourself and then we'll go from there. Adriana.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi.
Oh, okay. Because I'm on the phone. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, got it. Good. Well, I've been dreaming a lot, but it's all scattered. I can't focus. Many things are happening in my life lately. Things are moving fast. Just to make you a brief list of things, I sold the business. Maria got married.
Wow.
I'm an empty nester now. I'm looking for a job. So there are many things going on.
Everything's going on.
Yeah. I'm going to move also. I love the house that I am right now, but, well, it's not convenient for me anymore since Maria's not with me and I'm just myself.
Yep.
So I'm moving to a Jimenez condo, which is 2-bedroom. So I think it's more suitable for me now. So I'm in a new stage.
Yeah.
Getting used to it. Sometimes feeling bad about it. Some other times I feel excited also. Anyway, like mainly right now is about not having the steady financial situation
right
that I used to have. Even though I complain a lot, but at least I had something steady. Now I'm looking for a job. I just have to keep working, and it's hard. It's really hard to get things the new way,
Right.
But so I've been dreaming a lot every day. It's just that everything is like it's like I can't focus on something in particular. I'm trying to do so many things, and at the same time I'm doing nothing.
Yep.
It's just I went to Mexico also. I got surgery, and then my dad got surgery, and I went back to look for him, and then so it's been a lot of movement.
Okay.
And I had a dream in Mexico then that I didn't write down. It was so longer than what the image that I kept, but the image that stayed was being covered by butterflies, like the monarcha butterflies.
Yeah.
And how they look into, like they cover a whole tree with the butterflies on it.
That's right. Yeah.
So that was the image.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Being covered by. Yeah, I thought it was okay. These are butterflies. It has to do something with I can change. I can do this. I can somehow transform.
Yes.
Myself.
Definitely. Definitely.
But it was just that image.
The butterfly is also an image of the soul. And there's the monarch. And I love it that it's the monarch. It's your king again. For those of you who are on the call, some of these, Adriana and Tom were in my dream group when I lived in Las Vegas. So we have some background in dreams. But, it's the monarch again, the queen, the king. So
again,
part of it is, you see, one of the things is when we worry, we're using our imagination in a negative way.
Yeah.
Okay? We're taking the imagination and twisting it into fear. So part of what I would say to you is get over it. It's like, and Tom too, all of us, it's like, who knows what will happen? All we can do is die. And I know that sounds awful to people, but really, if you believe that there's many lifetimes, the only thing that's going to happen is we'll die. We won't have to worry about food or where we're going to live or paying taxes if we die. So that's the upshot. That's the good part, right? The bad part is we don't get to see our kids or finish our work or whatever. So we have to get to that point where we're not afraid. And it's like right now you have a place, you're moving, have you moved or are you still in the process?
No, I'm in the process. Actually, I have to start packing, I'm dreading it. Oh my God. And I'll have to move by the end of November.
Okay. So concentrate on that. Concentrate on letting go of things. Maybe you should go to Bone Dance too. Get a hold of Tom and Joe, and all of you go.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to stay all night. I never stayed. I used to leave at 1, 2 in the morning. But you can bring a tent, you can bring a sleeping bag, or you can just hang out in the temple and around the fire and dance and do whatever. But this is a horrific year for all of us. Mostly mostly us here in the United States, but all over the world, people are suffering. We're at that end of the age type thing that the Christians go on about. It's the end times.
Yeah.
It's not the end times. It's the end of an age, and something new wants to come in, and so all the crud's coming up. Okay. And so we have all the negativity that we have to face. But part of our job is to have a different vision, not just fall into the fear, but also to say, okay, we're at that place, and now I want to imagine something better.
Yeah.
The thing is, a lot of times, at least a lot of people I've been talking to, our imaginations are failing us because of the trauma that this government of ours is forcing us into day in and day out. So part of it is being able to step out and release it and see things from the spirit's point of view. If we are souls, we have been through stuff like this before in other lifetimes, okay? And at least compared to Syria and Niger and Chad and all of those other nations, in the Philippines, people are in horrific conditions. Okay, in war and in famine and in rape and pillage, and we're worried because of what? We can't pay our bills, we can't pay the internet, we can't, and so part of it is, can we step into a bigger place in ourselves? Because I think that is our job as Americans. Can we take that leap in consciousness and not go into fear? And then when we're not in fear, the imagination wakes up. And if you focus the imagination and say what's coming through and what is it saying to me, and you really work on that imaginal level, like listening to your instincts or listening to your dreams or doing journeys and going in and speaking to your inner guides, and then working what you get from that, not just going, oh, that was interesting, and then ignoring it. I think that's part of our lesson and our job this lifetime. We need to make that leap in consciousness. Other people are living in conditions that are too horrific for them to be doing that.
Sure.
So that's a beautiful image. Maybe get Tom to paint you a picture of it. Because I can see Tom.
That would be nice.
Just a little picture. It doesn't have to be a big one and take a lot of time. Do you know what I mean? But then look at it every day. Like when we have dreams and there's a vivid image, we should draw it. Okay, we should paint it and then put it up on your wall and look at it every day and use it as a mandala of what you are and what your potentials are. You're just sort of freaking out because you've let a whole part of your life go.
Sure. Yeah, I was telling Tom that I feel like I'm about to jump from the bungee.
Yeah.
Like I feel excited, but at the same time scared, because this is the first time in my life that I'm doing this. For the first time in my life, I'm living alone.
Yeah.
I have never done this ever, and in a way, it's exciting. And it's nice, and I look at my stove, and it's still clean, and even my microwave is clean. It's like, wow, I've never seen this lasting that long. But also, it's new, and it's, I don't know what is coming.
That's right.
But I'm trying to. I feel alone in a way, and I don't want to go into. Fall into the temptation of just filling that void with whatever comes.
Right.
I don't want to do that. I want to know that if I have the space to put something in there, it has to be something nice and not something that I really want to have in there, not just whatever shows.
That's right. So that's why you need to pay attention to your thoughts and to what you're imagining. I got bored the other day and I watched Star Trek: The Next Generation and with Q, and there was this guy called Q, and he could make anything happen. And I was watching and I went, he's the quantum field. Q, the quantum field. And it was all about him giving this power to Riker, number one, that he could create anything he wanted. And so this is back when my kids were little, so this was in the early 90s. They were writing about the quantum field in Star Trek: The Next Generation. So part of it is that's what the imagination does. If you talk to the magicians, people who not just on stage, but the old time magicians, they build their thought forms in the imaginal world. That was what they concentrated on, meditating and building piece by piece a vision of something, and then it manifests. So part of our trouble is we don't know what we really want.
Exactly. Yeah. Right?
So I would suggest Hecate as a goddess to maybe talk to a bit. I'm going to do a free a wise woman salon, and we're going to go to Hecate on I think it's like the 3rd of November or the 5th or something. I don't know. The Sunday after Halloween. But Hecate is the goddess of the crossroads, but she's also the goddess of the dark, but of the unknown places. She's not the goddess she's the goddess of death and rebirth, but it's that in-between place of after you die, but before you're reborn. And it's the unknown. And we're kind of in that unknowing. We don't know what it is. In Christian mysticism, it was called the cloud of unknowing, or the dark night of the soul. The dark night of the soul is a little different. That's when you think God's abandoned you. The cloud of unknowing is, I just don't know. Yeah. And when we don't know, it's the time to sit back and play. The only way we'll figure things out if we get playful, because that opens up the imagination.
Yeah, that's something that that question, I get that a lot, that question lately. Like, what is that you want to do now that you have time and you can do whatever you want? And I keep bumping into the same response. I have always done whatever I had to do. My whole life I've been doing whatever I had to do, depending on the circumstances and the stage on my life that I'm going through in that moment. But it's always what I have to do. Right. This is the first time that I can ask, what is that I want? And I just don't know. I have never asked that question to me before.
Yep.
So it's hard to find it.
Yeah.
It's just so hard. I thought it would be easy, but no way it's not. So.
Totally no. I totally know what you mean. Okay. And So part of our job right now is to say, I don't know, and just open up and constantly get in touch with your soul and see what turns on your light. See what makes you excited. See what makes you be passionate about something. And it's hard to stay in that place of not knowing, but that's where you have to stay. Okay? So one of the things I would say to you is get online next Sunday and get somebody else's computer and come and do the Wise Woman Salon. Not this coming Sunday, that was Sunday after. Okay? Sorry, it's Monday. In about 2 weeks.
November the 5th. Yeah.
Okay?
November 5th. Okay.
November 5th. So those are the type of things that you need to do right now. We're going into winter. It's a time to let go of the old, okay? What's dead. Stop carrying it around. And then you're there, and it's like, well, I'm naked, I'm dead, I have nothing. Well, who am I? That's when you begin to listen and see if something comes. Maybe you won't know till Christmas, because if we go by the wheel of the year, Samhain is the Day of the Dead, and it's the time when we release, and the end of the year and the beginning of the year, at least in Celtic tradition. But then it's the winter solstice when the new light is born and the baby is born, the divine light is born again. So it might take you that little bit of time. But, you know, if we ever got in sync with nature again, then every year this would be deep. It would deepen us. We would know what to do. So hook into that kind of energy if you can. Say, I don't know, but I'm going to go along with Mother Earth, and I'm going to see what she has to do.
Yeah. Yeah, right now I'm willing to let go many things since I'm moving and since I'm starting a new chapter in my life, and I have, like, for instance, I have so many furniture that I bring from Mexico, and I still have it, and I don't even need it anymore. So I'm willing to let it go, but I don't know how to start. So, oh, well, anyway.
Okay. Well, we'll talk. One day we'll figure it out, and we'll call privately, and we'll talk. Just you and I.
Okay. Yeah, well, that was nice.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Okay, I write down in my calendar November 5th.
Okay.
Well, you'll have it on an email anyway, don't you?
Yes. I will put out another email because there's a full moon on the 3rd.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, so you'll get another one. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the next one I have in line is Joe. So Joe, I'm unmuting you, I think, or you have to unmute you.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. Let me see if I can see you. There you go. Okay, what's up?
Well, had another unusual dream, which I tried to write down as much as I could remember. Well, funny, a lot of my dreams, like I've been telling you, seem to take place inside of buildings. This one was this morning, actually, right as I woke up from it. So I was in like a large mall, what I basically described it. A really large mall, but the ceilings were really, really high, like 50, 100 feet tall. It was really huge, big building, but really high ceilings. And in the first part of the dream, my brother and I were walking through the mall, for a better term, and we came to what was a storefront originally. It was, glass, a glass storefront inside of a mall. So it was glass from floor to ceiling, but it still had a door in it. It had a glass door, like an office would have a glass door. But instead of being a store inside, it was an aquarium. And inside the aquarium, you could see fish swimming from the floor to the ceiling. But what was weird is my brother and I opened the door and walked into the aquarium. And it wasn't water in it per se, but there was fish swimming around us, and we let a fish go. We put a fish into the aquarium. And it was just kind of bizarre. But we turned and walked out, and my brother went somewhere. I don't know where he went, but as I came out of the aquarium, I felt I had wings on my back. But they weren't visible wings. They were like wings of air, just air. That's at least what my imagination was, is that it was big, huge wings of air. And so I was flying through this mall or through this large building and just flying in a lot of different places. There was a couple of the details that I couldn't exactly recall. But as I come to the end of the dream, I saw toward the far end of the mall, or a farther away point in the mall, I saw a group of people huddled on the floor, laying on the floor, looking towards something. Something bad was going on. They were kind of hiding or something. So I'm flying that way, and I'm flying and swooping and flying. Wonderful experience. I'm quite happy during the flying. It was just, a marvelous experience. But as I come up and I saw what was going on, I made the mistake of coming down and landing behind them. And when I landed, I was down on the floor with them, looking for what was ever the problem. And then I couldn't fly anymore. And it just felt like I was trapped. So that's when I woke up. And then when I woke up, it dawned on me, why did I keep flying? You know, that was just the thought in my head.
Right.
That was the end of
Okay. So, wow, interesting. Right? When you first talked about how big the mall was, I thought, it sounds like the Mall of Dubai that I went to when I was in Dubai. It was so big, it felt like it was miles tall and miles wide. I mean, it took forever. And then they had an aquarium in it, so then it doubled it. Okay. My association, but this is your dream. So there's something, you know, an aquarium is like, it's a container for fish and water. It's not they're not free, right? They're not in the ocean. They're not in the lake. So it's some kind of containment field. But usually fish and things like that are contents of the unconscious, right? Jung would say a fish represents an unconscious content that wants to be made conscious. So it's something in us that is unconscious for us, but it's all of a sudden viable, and we might become, it might be something we know, or we'll get to know. And I'm wondering if part of it is that you've forgotten how to fly. You know, you've forgotten that freedom. You've forgotten that ability that can lift you up and give you wings.
Well, that's a good point.
Do you feel that sometimes?
Like a lack of passion. Yeah, that's a good description, because I would kind of equate flying with a passion or with a drive and losing that passion in life. Yeah, that's a good description. That's kind of a good point. Really good point.
And it's interesting because you lost your wings again when you went down to help people. Maybe you think too much about other people, and you haven't thought about yourself enough. Do you know?
No.
And I know we're all taught to not be selfish, but we have to have a self to fish with. Okay. And when we're selfless, we're constantly living our lives for other people, and so we lose a sense of what, like Adriana, she doesn't know what she wants to do, because all her life she's given herself away to her family, right? To her kids, to her husbands, whatever. Right? So we get to the point where it's like, I don't know what I want to do. Did I ever? Right? So there's this sense that you were at a place where there was a containment field, you know, where you could actually see fishes and actually interact with them. You could breathe in there. You went in, right? But it wasn't water. But the gift you got was your wings. True. Right?
Yeah, that was what came up.
So I don't know. What do you think? I mean, it really is your dream, and but if it was my dream, I would say, okay, I'm shopping around, or I'm in this place where I can get anything I want, right? You should see this Mall of Dubai. I think every freaking store in the world is in this mall, okay? I was like, get me out of here. I can't stand this place, okay? But that's what a mall is. It's like all these stores, right? And so we can have our heart's desire, if you will, or at least shop and spend all our money. So you go into this mall to shop around, you and your brother, because he's your partner in business and whatever. So it might be about your business. It could be about you personally, okay? You have to decide, and if we talked privately, maybe we'd get down to that, but if you don't want to, we don't have to. So here you are, and you go in and you say, wow, there's amazing things. This is amazing, right? Whenever we see a really big aquarium, it is amazing. We're like brought into another world, even though we brought that world to us. Right? An aquarium is like, okay, I'm not going under the water. I'm not going to go deep sea diving, and I'm not going to learn how to do that. I'd rather have you all come and see me. Right? So you're shopping around and it's like, I'd like to explore the unconscious. I'd like to explore this magical other realm, if you will, maybe. And it gives you wings. That idea is like, I want to be an explorer. There's so many things that are magical and interesting and different. And you're enjoying yourself. There's nothing better than flying dreams, ever. Okay? Flying dreams are the bomb. They're the best. So, but there you are. And then you come down to earth when people need you. And then you feel trapped because you can't get back up.
True.
Do you know?
Yeah, that's a good description.
So let yourself have wings. Imagine it. You know, wake up in the morning and say, today I'm going to take a little time for myself to just imagine, to have wings, to fly. Where would I want to go? What would I want to do? Maybe you want to go and, you know, imagine visiting Diana and the two of you go up to the volcano and Palea is there and you see the goddess of fire and she goes, I want you to come and jump in the fire with me. You know, it's about, you see, our patriarchal culture has deceived us. They've convinced us that imagination is only for children. But imagination is how we create. That's the quantum field, right? I was talking about. So be playful. You know, go wherever you want to go. Like in the book by T.H. White, The Once and Future King, Merlin has Arthur transformed into birds and fishes, and so he understands life. And I think as we get older, we narrow our vision down sometimes, maybe because we haven't had the opportunity. We've been so responsible all our lives, right? But where would you want to go, and what would you want to do? And open up that and see where you get hooked, like a fish might. But not helping other people, okay? Help yourself first. It's like when you nurture somebody, when you nurture too many people, your well runs dry, and then you have nothing for you and nothing for them. So it's not selfishness to say, what do I want to do? What's for me? I want to fly. I want to imagine. I want to go. Because then you have more to give people. But we've been taught, don't be selfish. If somebody needs us, be responsible and go take care of them. But if you don't have any water in the well, it's very hard. Right? So we need that fun. That's why when we get older, we go, oh, I'm getting older, I'm dying. And it's like, no. What we have to do is go, now I can open up my imagination and totally fly. What do I want to do? Because I'm not a little kid and I'm not stuck at home with my parents telling me to get out of my costume and go to bed. You know, you can stay in your magical costume for as long as you want. Right?
Yeah, that's true. It is a choice you make now. At this stage of my life, yeah, it's a choice I make.
It's a choice. So the thing is that we can all, you know, our culture, I think, tries to kill us off in all different ways, poisoning the air, poisoning the food, you know, whatever. But it kills us by killing our imagination.
Okay.
You know, so use it. And of course, imagination is playful. And it's like storytelling and whatever. So I would say to you, go to Bone Dance and dance around the fire too. Maybe get a hold of Adriana and Tom and you all go up together. I don't know. But it's sort of like shake loose some of your responsibility. I know that sounds horrific, but sometimes we can be over responsible for for everybody else, and we don't take up our responsibility to ourselves to be juicy and fruitful and joyful. Right?
Yeah.
We can't create joy if we don't know what it is.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. You can drown in a sea of things that you've put yourself into, and it's just nobody's fault but your own. But it's trying to let go of things is not easy. Like Adriana said, I can understand, sympathize with that very much. It's hard to let go of things.
It's
going through that process now with stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you see, that's the cage patriarchy puts men and women in, okay? We women have been struggling since the 70s for our freedom, and it's taken us this long, and, you know, and we still don't have it, a lot of us still, right? But you men are just as caught, you know, but you didn't know it because you guys were told you're the king. And we were told you're just second-class sex slaves, basically, you know. So we all rebelled and went, no, we're not, you know, and we're going to be just as good as men. And that was another cage. Women don't need to be men. We need to be women. We need to be magical, gypsy, you know, loving, creative people, women. And so we all have to get out of our soul cages, as Sting would say in his song, Soul Cages, and find out what makes our souls soar, like your wings. Okay? Yeah. So Adriana has all those butterfly wings. You have your wings in the back. Tom has Christopher Walken driving him off into the desert. I don't know. But all of us have a way to break out of the jail that we put ourselves into. Okay? It's the time of year. It's Samhain. It's Halloween. It's the time when we let things die, do you know? So we can be reborn in joy. So if we can't feel joy, we can't bring joy into the world.
Okay.
Right? Okay?
I like that.
Okay, so keep paying attention and keep coming back. Okay? Every other Monday
Sure.
we're going to be doing it. Okay?
Thanks, Kathy. Much appreciated. Okay.
So, who's next? Who is here? Leah? I know Susie's here too, but you're at the end of the row. So, Lee? Is it Lee? L-E-I? Unhook yourself. Where are you? I'm not hearing you.
I'm not on there.
Okay, where are you? Okay, it looks like you're muted again. You want to unmute yourself. Can you unmute yourself? Are you there? Because if you're not, I'm going to go on to Susie.
Yeah, go on to Susie.
Are you there?
No.
Yeah, you are. I can hear you. Do you want to talk or no? Nope. Okay, then I'm going to go into Susie. Susie, unmute yourself.
Alrighty.
Hi, Suze.
Hey there, I've switched rooms. Can you hear me? Because I didn't get a chance to test it before.
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Alrighty. I had this dream, I think about a week and a half ago.
A little louder. I can't hear you. A little louder.
Okay, all right, how's this? Is this any better?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. All right, so I wrote it down as soon as I got up because it was so kind of emotional and disjointed in my head, and I didn't want to, it had a few different threads in it, so I just typed as fast as I could while I was still holding on to it. I'll just read it out. It was October 3rd on a Tuesday. I had a job walking through apartments to make sure people's refrigerators had arrived. My friend Kathy, who's my other friend Kathy, was in the dream, and how I met her was significant. That was in the forefront for some reason. I would see a woman as I walked in some neighborhood. She sort of worked as a crossing guard. We would talk, and her name was Mary, but then she would always say that her name was Mary, Our Lady of, I'm not sure if it was Guadalupe, or if it was something else besides Guadalupe. My mother has a real big thing for Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Okay.
And she told me her daughter was getting married and the wedding would be very soon, and she talked about dresses. Then I was suddenly in a large day room, sort of like a facility of some sort, and my other friend Kathy was there. We were both employed there, and she had a regular hourly job, like a full-time job, and I just kind of came and went like like I had at my last job as an art therapist. Clients didn't know we knew each other. But one day I told everybody who was there, I picked her up at Home Depot, which is where I met her. And then we started to talk about the possibility of her having a different living situation. And before I went to bed that night, I had come across a strange work and live situation that was a possibility for her. So that was in my mind. Then in the dream, 3 blonde women were walking out of this day room in this facility, and I said goodbye to them. One of them turned around and said goodbye, but she said goodbye, but I realized she was looking behind me at a guy, like, because she sort of gave a flirty goodbye, and I thought to myself, ooh, I don't think she was saying goodbye to me. All of these weird little asides when, in dreams.
Right.
And then I was back to doing my job of walking through apartments to look for refrigerators, and I realized that I was in the crossing guard's daughter's apartment because there were dresses, like say bridesmaids' dresses, hanging on hangers against the doors, and they're long dresses, so they had to hang up high. And there was the idea of a wedding dress. It was a slim dress, not fancy, but the bridesmaids' dresses appeared to be dark brown, long and sleek, but sort of depressing. No one was home, so I was there doing my walkthrough without anybody. I later bumped into Mary, and we talked. She was friendly and asked if I remembered her name, and I did, and I included the Our Lady of something something after the Mary. And she was impressed that I remembered her name. I said, I think I was in your daughter's apartment. And suddenly she was very sad, and she was crying, and I didn't know why. She shook her head, and I thought maybe something happened to her daughter, something bad. Anything from the wedding being called off to her daughter being dead. I was trying to figure out what she was upset about, and another person pointed out that behind Mary, we were outside, and we were on the edge of a partially open building, and there were things draped in black. And then I realized this is a classroom for little kids with little lockers, but along the edge there were small coffins lined up. And I saw one row of small coffins, and they are closed, and they have black draping going from one to the next. I gasped, and someone other than someone, the other woman near Mary who was speaking for her, says, "You heard about the killing." And I acknowledged that I heard about it, but it was in the next state. It wasn't ours. And she said, "But our children were there." And then I realized there is yet another line of small coffins. Mary's daughter was involved with the school where these little coffins were, where these little coffins and lockers were. And I think of my other friend Kathy, who was working at the facility, and I think if anything happened like that at her job, it would just break her. And then my alarm went off.
Okay, wow. Okay. Okay, let's start. Okay, it begins with you checking on refrigerators, right? So what do refrigerators do?
Preserve.
They preserve things, right? They preserve our nourishment, the things that nourish us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then the next scene, so you're doing that and then something happens. Then do you go straight to the crossing guard, or is there something in between?
Nope, just the crossing guard next.
Okay, so you're making sure that people, or that the cooling, okay, systems, the things that preserve and keep our food fresh and nourishing for us, are working. So where in your life do you feel that you do that?
Everywhere.
Up, another responsible person.
Oh my gosh.
Right? So Sister Mary of the Guadalupe, Our Lady, the crossing guard is a crossing guard is one who helps you make a transition from one side to the other of the street, but it's sort of like guarding you as you're making transitions, right? So she's pretty much telling you she's an aspect of the goddess. right? Our Lady of Guadalupe, whatever, right? So there's something about what you're doing that you are making a transition into, I think. Okay? Is that true for you? You feel like you're
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And the thing is that if we think about Mary or Our Lady or the goddess, we are the daughters. We're the daughters, right? Of the new feminine, of the divine feminine coming in, of Lady Wisdom, all of that, okay? So she is there helping you make this transition, the divine feminine, whether it's however you connect to her. I'm sure that you do in some way, okay? And so so perhaps you're also her daughter who's getting married. To be married means you go into a different state of being, right? It's no longer just about you, it's about you and someone else. You're going to create a life together, right? So there's a part of her, a part of you that is about to embark on another life, where you're getting creative. Now, are all your kids out of school? Are they in school still? Are your kids still around, or are they heading off like Adriana's kids? No?
They're still very much in my life.
Okay. So where do you feel like there's a part of you that's moving into a new life?
They are at a different stage, so that I'm feeling and fighting sometimes with them that I need time for me, and they're big enough to handle things, and I need to have a space and creative outlets and time for myself. They should be able to handle it.
Yep. Okay. So, I'm just trying to turn you up a little louder. Okay, so the next part of the dream after the crosswalk lady telling you about her daughter getting married is when you go with Kathy?
Yes.
Okay, so what about, go ahead.
Yeah, it's the part where I go into that facility, and my friend Kathy is working there.
Okay, so besides her working full-time, what's she like?
In real life or in the dream?
In real life.
In real life, she's, I think she's wonderful and has a heart of gold, truly, and yet she's constantly struggling with all of the things that you've been talking about tonight. The pressures of life today.
Okay.
And she tends to be very fragile because of it. It's wearing her out.
Okay, so perhaps that you need to pay attention to that part of you. Okay, that you feel like you finally need a little time for yourself and the kids can take care of things. And so she's a shadow aspect of you probably, okay, that feels like she works full time. It's like even though you might not work at your job full time, but you have your family, you have your husband, you have the traveling to see your mother, you take your kids to the dog shows, you have houses that you're fixing up and renting. It's like a never ending circle of busyness, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Very, very true. Very interesting that you put it like that.
So, it's sort of like, okay, even though your ego, your consciousness goes, oh, I don't do that much. I don't work full time.
Yes.
It's like, yes, you do. You're just multitasking a million different things. Right? A little here, a little there. That's so much harder than just doing one job.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. You live next door to me and I never see you. This is the first time I've seen you in ages. She lives next door to me. Okay? So anyway, so there you are. You check in with Kathy, and then the next part is are you back exploring and doing the refrigerator again?
I wonder about these little other things that happen in dreams sometimes. These 3 blonde women are walking out.
Oh yeah.
And I say to them, and one turns around and she looks like she's saying goodbye to me. Then I realize she's sort of like saying goodbye to the guy behind me, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder about things like that. Like, where'd those people come from in that dream? What are they doing there?
Well,
then I go back to going through Mary's.
Okay. So, you know, when we have 3, the number 3 is about process, but it's also the triple goddess. The moon goddess is always tripled. Before the Trinity of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, it was the triple goddess, the maiden, the mother, and the crone. Okay? And of course that represents process, at least in the feminine realm, right? Mm-hmm. You have these 3 women who are flirty with, you know, with the man, right? And so that's another aspect of your life is like, then you got to be connected to guys and, you know, your husband or whatever it is. So it's showing you maybe all these different aspects. I don't know. Blondes, usually blonde hair represents like a father's daughter. The guys in my class know what I'm talking about. The father's daughter is all of us, all the women now. We're all father's daughters. We listen to the patriarchy for all things. We're for the masculine. We have to be responsible and conscious and make some money and, you know, We can't just be the divine feminine. Do you know what I mean? We use our left brain way more than we use our right brain. That's another way to talk about it, right?
That's pretty amazing. That's absolutely wild that you just said that.
Why?
It's something I think about a lot. And in fact, I have been consciously thinking about that lately without having any idea of the symbolism you just talked about.
Okay. So I think that's what it is in some ways. Now the thing is, you think is there a man behind you or do you just think it?
I'm sorry, what do you mean?
In the dream, is there a man behind you or are you just thinking it?
Oh, yeah, I turned around and there was a guy there.
Okay. Okay, anybody you know or just a guy?
Nope, just somebody.
Okay, so there they are flirting with the masculine constantly. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
You know, either am I appropriate for a man or how can I get ahead and how, you know, the masculine is a very energetic doing energy. The feminine is a being energy. You know, like hanging out and not thinking about anything and maybe painting a picture, you know. Or reading a book or meditating or breathing, you know, that's the feminine. But the patriarchal, the father's daughter is, you know, has put that aside and wants to do. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, let's get things done.
Yeah, I have too much of that.
Yeah. So then you go, do you talk to your, you go to the apartment of the daughter at first and see the bride dress and everything?
Yes, that's the next section. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so you see, you know, is her dress at least pretty or is it just?
I wrote slim but not fancy.
Okay. Slim but not fancy. So here's the Divine Mother, Mary, Our Lady of Guadalupe, or whoever, and her own daughter, you know, you, a part of you, you know, you don't even have the right attitude for the wedding. You know, it's just little. It's slim, simple, sort of like, I want to have this wedding. A wedding is a beginning of a new life, but it's not, and dresses represent attitudes or types of consciousness we have. Now, it might be that you just want to get back to a simple place. Mm-hmm. Okay? Yeah. And that might be the answer. But your ego goes, oh, poor girl. She doesn't have much. Look at the ugly clothes that her attendants are going to wear. Now, in a dream, is your conscious ego attitude. Everything else is a given. Now, brown isn't something you would necessarily pick, but but brown's the color of earth, right? It's of dirt. Brown's the color of dirt. And if it's a rich brown, it's the color of really rich soil, right? Now, I don't know if it was a pretty brown or not. I have no idea. Was it?
No, it was pretty drab. I've also been writing, I had just been writing an essay or a little story about family history, and actually about that my great-grandmother may have been buried in a habit. She had 12 kids, but she may have been buried in the habit of like the Sisters of Mercy or Sisters of Charity or something as a layperson.
Okay.
It had something to do with that.
Okay. So maybe there is a part of you that isn't, that it's not getting into this new place. It's sort of like you're getting the attitude, but not really. And it's right back being, only the patriarchy would clothe women in ugly clothes and stick them in a place and say, pray because you're sinners. Okay.
Yeah.
Give up the flesh. The world is evil.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's true.
So there's something going on there. It's more like a habit. It's more like and brown was like the Franciscans to me, right? Brown habit. So it's almost like saying if I have a spirituality, it has to be solemn and sacrificing. And if I want to be spiritual, that's what it is. Yeah. Is that something that you sometimes fall into?
Maybe. I'd have to really think on it.
Well, because it's very hard for most of us to think that spirituality might actually be fun.
Yeah.
And sexy and passionate.
I've been away from spirituality for a while, I think.
Say it again?
I've been away from spirituality with the just busyness of life.
Okay.
So I don't even really know what my thoughts are about it lately.
Okay. But it could be, I don't know. This is such a big, complex, wonderful dream. I'm just going to give you ideas to play with, okay? So you go back to Mother Mary, and she starts to cry, right? Yeah. So there's Our Lady of Sorrows right there. There's something going on. The goddess is sad about her daughter or whatever. I don't know. And you might want to do an active imagination and go back into the dream and talk to her. Right? Or you're an art therapist. Paint it. Draw it, do the colors, whatever. Right? The thing that then goes on is the babies, the coffins for the children. Where are you letting all your inner children die? Where are you letting your inner children get killed off? Okay? Because whenever we dream about children, it's new possibilities within us. Right? And for them to have rows of them, okay, is saying you're letting all these possibilities die before you let them develop. Do you think that's true about some of your stuff?
It could very well be true. Actually, that's spot on for what my deeper thought processes have been over the past month that I haven't really been talking about because it's stuff that's in the future and not necessarily pertinent to other people right now. So it's just stuff that I've been playing with in my head.
Right.
And potentially killing off. So, in my head.
Yeah. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to see if if you can start to take care of some of those projects, some of those ideas, some of that new life.
Yes.
It's sort of like, I think you say, but it's not even here. That happens someplace else. but it's happening here now. Do you know?
Yes.
It's happening here and now. And also, you go back and think, oh, if that lady Kathy, you know, if this had happened with her, she would have broken down.
Wow.
Or something.
Yes.
Right? So here's your lady who works too hard, who worries too hard, you know? So I wonder if it's, let me see if I can put this together. It's almost as if you have this spirit guide. The divine feminine wants you, okay? And it's because you care about other people and you nurture other people, and you want to make sure everybody gets the best nurturing they can get. But in some ways, that shorts you, that gives you less time and gives you less energy to take care of the new things that you want to do, the different things you want to do, because you're taking care of your kids and your mother and your husband and your work and your dogs and everything. Mm-hmm. Right? And I wonder if the dream is showing you the coffins, because it's saying, look, all these years you've been putting things off and not doing what you want. And look at the body counts building up. Mm-hmm. When are you going to start paying attention?
Wow. Okay.
I don't know. You think about that. Let me know. I'll be around this weekend. Let me know what you think. Okay? It's such a deep dream that we would have to, okay? And I'm not even hearing you anymore. Like,
really?
Yeah, you were speaking very low and I couldn't hear. Yeah, you're not muted, but it's low. Okay.
I don't know how to fix that. I'll have to figure it out. But
does anyone else have any ideas that they'd like to jump in and say anything about? Unmute yourself and come on in if you do. Nope. Okay.
Thank you so much. That was amazing.
Okay, so think about that. Think about where where you're overworking, where you're ignoring the new impulses, where maybe you need to speak to Mother Mary and have a sit down with her. Okay?
It all makes perfect sense, and that's absolutely what's been happening. But conscious, but then with an unconscious killing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's talk sometime. Okay, Lee, are you here or not?
Yes, I am.
Okay, let's try you.
Yeah. My voice is a little raspy already because the heat here in California is awful. I've been having these dreams of weddings and babies, newborn babies being born. Now, I'll tell you one particular dream I had a couple weeks ago, and they seem to fall around the phases of the moon. I was at a cliff with a friend of mine who used to go to a gathering with me. That's how we met, two little girls. And we were at the top of this precipice, and we looked down, and there was this, how can I describe it? It was an elevator, but it was the bottom of the precipice. And there was this Native American, this chief, with his regalia on, headdress and everything, and he was rising up to us. I looked at her, and I saw that she was dressed in this buckskin outfit, a tan Native American there, and I was dressed in this white lacy dress with a lacy hood with a ribbon on it. And we were looking forward to this native to arrive to us when we noticed there was a pond right next to us that we both decided to jump in and get up and start laughing. We were getting good. But I had these dreams where I'm either going to a ritual or a ceremony that has to do with a wedding. I'm either not a participant, sort of like, and it's not mine, but I'm there. And I had that one this morning again.
Okay.
Another one.
I wasn't sure if I heard it all right, but first I heard you say you've been dreaming a lot about weddings and babies. Is that true?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So once again, we just talked about that. New life and new potential coming your way. And then you had the dream about, with your friend, looking down over the precipice. So, you know, something from very deep down is rising up to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you're constantly at rituals, do you have a ritual group that you work with?
I used to have a coven, but we've been split, I don't know, 10, 15 years. You knew one of my elder sisters when she lived in Nevada. Her name was Linda Sywar. She's the one that introduced me to you. And I started following you on your astrology, cosmic stories and everything else, which I adore. I love. But I do rituals on my own here at home. I have my own altar in my bedroom.
Okay.
And I honor the seasons and the moons.
Okay. So there's some sacred, you living in a sacred manner. That to me is what it's saying. But also, who is the friend that you're with? What's she like?
My girlfriend Linda, she's into the same belief system that I am. That we were both into the Native American philosophy, and then of course I'm Wiccan, and I honor both of them. So they're both together. But we've been friends for 30 years, and we still keep in contact. And we just live in Temecula, and I stay with her occasionally. But what is she? She's also in the same predicament that I am right now. We're kind of stagnant. We're not using our potential.
Okay. And so you want to jump into that emotional place, into the water,
Yes.
and feel refreshed. So I would suggest you go to Bone Dance too, lady. You both go there next Saturday night at 9:00 at the Goddess Temple, the Sekhmet Temple. But anyway, that's something that I'm hearing from a lot of people. It's like it's been so intense, and also we older people, okay, we have been, at least we've all been working on this since 1987, haven't we?
Yes.
Since the harmonic convergence.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's like, when are we getting this done? When is it over? When is it, when is it going to happen? Right? It's been 30 freaking years.
Yes. And my oracles, actually my cards that I do, and I try, they tell me new beginnings, rebirth, it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful stuff. And I've been retired for 6 years, and we're both in our 70s. But I'm looking more to get involved in my spiritual people again, like starting a coven again.
Okay. Well, it's so important for all of us to do things with joy and with emotions. And so this is the time to shed the dead, right? It's time. It's we're coming up to that time. And so what are the ways that all of you have very positive dreams, even though some of it sounds, some of it might also be hard. But there's a sense that all of us are at this point, this precipice, like you were, and we're waiting for spirit to call us. There was a lady called Simone Weil who wrote back in the 1920s. She was a Jewish lady. I think she lived in Paris, and she loved Jesus. But anyway, she wrote a book called Waiting on God, and that always stayed with me. I haven't read the book in 40 years, but the whole idea was that if we are here for spirit, we have to wait for spirit to call us forth.
Right. Right.
So perhaps all of us need to cry for spirit, okay? We have to send out a cry and say, please, we are here. And then we have to be content, and then we have to live our lives with grace while we're waiting for the answer.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Do you know?
Here it is.
And that means, you know, when we go out to the grocery store, just be full of that light that we have. And maybe just even talk to the lady who, or the man who's checking us out, or the man behind us. But, you know, but it's about bringing a positive vibe there. We don't know yet what we're supposed to do. A lot of us go, oh, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? We don't know. There might be earthquakes. Things might go on. Maybe our purpose is to help people get over disaster. We don't know. Right? People in my profession, you know, astrology, therapist, you know, we're going, okay, well, I got to teach people to be more conscious. And totally, that's part of what I feel like I have to do. But maybe there's something else that God has, or Goddess has, waiting for me. So part of it is being ready, which just means being centered, being content, you know, breathing in the energy and breathing it out until that call comes.
Yes. 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 I hear what you're saying. And I'm with you on a lot of those things, because I do the same thing, you know, even with the guy that's angry next to me or whatever, I always say, God is blessed.
Yeah.
Not him, in my thoughts.
Right.
So, yes, yes. My girlfriend and I were both into some kind of spiritual awakening right now. And you're right, maybe waiting. And that's what my article was saying. Be still, be quiet, let it come.
Yeah. We have a hard time waiting.
And rising.
But I mean, all of us, you know, we're impatient as Americans. Yeah. We don't even know how to eat slow. You know, Europeans know how to move at a different pace. You know, other countries know how to move at a different pace. America is always quick, and be quicker.
Yeah.
And so how do we stop that crazy train? It's by slowing down, just being in the moment. Practice feeling energy. Do you know, part of it is if we slow down, we get to play. So you can go outside and you can breathe in and you can go, I'm going to feel what the energy is. You could be there for hours just trying to figure it out. When I lived in Nevada, I went outside the house one day, and I lived on the hill, on the mountain going up in Summerland. And we'd always get these strong breezes. And one day I was out there doing Qigong or something, and all of a sudden I could feel like the wind, but I could feel like the shape of it. Like I could feel it blowing through my left hand and sort of on my body, but nothing on my right hand. And all of a sudden, and it was just a stupid little thing. It's not like a big giant revelation, but it was like, oh, this is an air current, like a water current would be in the ocean. You know, it's just not, oh, the wind's blowing like all across the golf course, which was behind my house, from door to door. It was blowing in streams, right? Right. So part of it is maybe our job is to get back in touch with Mother Earth.
Oh, I do.
Just little tiny ways.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes, I do.
And then, and not be so impatient about, I don't know quite yet what I'm supposed to do. I don't think any of us are going to know in December, the planet Saturn is going to go into Capricorn. The shit's going to hit the fan in the next 2 years, excuse me. But when Saturn and Pluto get together in Capricorn, you know, the market's probably going to blow again. You know, just stuff's going to happen. And so we might, you know, we have to be prepared. But that doesn't mean get our survival gear intact, although maybe it does. What it means is we have to get to that place where we're so centered in ourselves that nothing's going to knock us off our feet.
Exactly. this is what I tell my girlfriends. They go, "What the hell's going on with this world and the planet?" I says, "Step on your spiritual boots because we're in for a ride." And it's just, if I get into some kind of emotional problem, I just go into my spirit inside in front of my altar and just honor this feeling that's going.
Right.
So, be patient. I wanted to say, my kid, I've been wanting to go to this goddess temple there in Indian Springs. And my sister, I told her, my brother died last year around this time of Samhain. I said he wanted his ashes spread at the Nevada desert. I told her, and they live in Utah, bring his ashes. There's a goddess temple there. I want to do a small ceremony, and we're going to release his ashes, just like he wanted. And I've been wanting to go there for the longest time.
Okay. Well, think about, doing that and going up, but also think about going to, I would say everybody should go to Bone Dance at one point or another.
This weekend.
It's not this coming Sunday, Saturday night. And you don't have to stay all night, but it's, they do a beautiful ritual, and then they light a big fire and people dance around the fire. And as they dance, they let go of their troubles. They let go of what's dead. You can go up into the temple because they do it outside the temple, in the area where we hold big events. But you can go sit in the temple with Sekhmet. At her fire. So and then you can even walk out behind everything and do other things. So that might not be what you want to do, but it might be something to think about. And sometimes just going into a zone like that, you've already done this if you've been a Wiccan all your life, and you've done Native American things. It's like a tribe, and this tribe gets together and does this thing. And even if you don't feel like you're part of the community, you are, you're there and you're seeing what a community can do.
Yes, I was interested because Samhain being on Tuesday, I would be here to honor Samhain, but I get start off in Nevada. I mean, it's only a 4-hour drive. But the heat, oh my God, I can't imagine how hot it's going to be out there if it's hot here in California.
Yeah.
It's not 97 and 100 degrees.
I've heard, yeah. Now, I didn't realize you were in California, so maybe it's not something you can do. But you could. And if you had the money, you could always drive back to North Vegas and stay at a hotel for the night. Or bring your camping equipment if you have it and stay right there at the temple.
I know that they have where you can camp out at night, and it's high. There's I don't know what you call it. It's for campers who want to stay up, not from the ground, but you can stay up on the top of this little thing that they build out there.
They built a platform, and they also have the guest house. But usually people, you'd have to call the priestess and see if there's room, because sometimes because people sort of reserve it. They did. They built a platform out there, and usually we'd all snuggle up there, and we'd, so see what, those are different things you can do. Right now, when we don't know what to do and we feel lost, find a group of people who have your values. Go do something unexpected, and be with people who you think you might vibrate with, and open yourself up to new pathways.
Yes. Meetup is what my girlfriend says. Go on the internet, go into meetups, and then meet other people.
Yeah. So I think it's just really important. What I'm hearing from everybody is that we're all on this cusp of change, but it's not here yet.
Okay. Be still, quiet, and let it come.
Be still, be quiet, but also celebrate the season and try to find like-minded people that are vibrating at the rate you're vibrating at. Because then you entrain and you work with a group. What I learned in the desert was a wonderful thing. I remember listening to NPR when I first got there, and they were talking about the myths of the desert. And it said, in the desert, there are limited resources, so you have to work together. Mm-hmm. And I thought, wow, okay. And I took that as sort of like my mantra for living there. And being back in New England, they don't believe that at all. New England everybody here has to do everything on their own. So trying to get a group of people together is really like herding cats. But out there, I was in so many groups. And it's just different. So give it a try and keep dreaming. And all of you, see if you have any dreams that you would, from tonight, that might give you an answer to some of the questions we brought up from the dreams.
Yes.
Okay.
I always, I got journals galore for 30 years. I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
I love dreaming. I like going to sleep and dreaming.
Yeah. Okay. So I have somebody who's on the phone, and the number is 714. I don't know who that is. I know Adriana was on one of them,
no,
but
that's
it's different. Who's 714?
That's Orange County, California.
Okay, unmute. Hello, who's there? 714?
I don't know. Okay, I'll put myself on mute. Let's see if you can hear her.
Okay, so who's on the phone? Is this Suzanne? Hello? I have somebody with a number 714-537-8212.
That's me.
Okay, who is me?
That's Lee.
Oh,
That's me. You just spoke to me. You just spoke to me.
Okay, so we have two of you. We have two of you. Okay. So there was one other lady, but she never came on. Her name was Suzanne. And so I guess we can end for tonight. If anyone has any questions, now's the time to ask me.
Not here.
Okay. So I will be back online in 2 weeks. Okay?
Oh, okay. Right.
I'm going to
have that on the 5th of November.
Yeah, I'm going to do this every other week. I have a dream group here that I do in person every other Monday. And just for a while, I'm going to do this for free online. I don't know if people are going to want to end up having a dream group. And that's a possibility for us to start perhaps in January. But that might be, I might ask if it's a concrete dream group that works every week, then I might say, how about paying the $20 that everybody else pays when I do Dream Group? But until then, for the next month, I'm going to do it for free. Okay?
All right.
So it's going to be Monday?
Every other Monday. Not next Monday.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my Rhode Island group. So that's the 30th. Yeah. So like the 6th of November, maybe.
November.
Okay. At 5.
At 5 o'clock, yeah, because it's 8 o'clock here.
Zoom.
It's 8 o'clock here, and so like right now it's 10 o'clock almost.
Okay.
Okay, so I can't start too much later because I'm getting old and I got to go to bed.
No, it's okay. Okay.
Okay, so everybody, sweet dreams. I will put this up. I will put this up someplace. I'll download it and make it into a thing, and it will be on a YouTube channel that I have. And if you want to go over it and listen to your dream again, and if you've forgotten something and didn't write it down, you'll have that chance. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Kathy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night. Sweet dreams, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Okay.